Hi, I'm Adam Peltzman, and you're watching a podcast where nostalgia comes alive. It's Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Roll it!
Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Join Jake and his friends on a journey through pop culture of the past, where they interview professionals in the worlds of acting, directing, writing, puppeteering, and so much more. Who will they be chatting with today? Find out in this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Happy here with us. Thank you for joining. As always, I'm your host, Jake Duffenbaugh. With me today, of course, our co-host, Chris Bixby. How's it going, my friend?
Doing good, doing good. Hello, everybody. How are you, Jake?
Doing great as always, Chris. Thank you for asking.
Yes, we had a wonderful interview for you folks today. Someone who has worked over the years in a lot of children's television, but I won't do all the talking here. Jake, tell everyone a little bit about it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chris. Today's guest we have in this episode is a writer, producer, and creator, Scott Kraft. We'll touch base his career throughout this chat, including his involvement in animation studio Nelvana for writing some children's series that we'll talk about later on in this episode. Most of you may know him best as one of the co-creators of another Nickelodeon series, The Fresh Beat Band, and a lot of current projects that he's involved recently, and a lot more. So enjoy our chat with Scott. See you then. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, the podcast where nostalgia comes alive. Today, we have with us is Scott Kraft. Welcome, Scott. Happy to have you here.
Thanks. How's it going?
Going good, going good. Yes, glad
Great.
that.
Thank you for asking. Yeah, of course. So, to kick things off, we know who you are, but for those who don't, could you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. I'm a writer, mostly of television, although I've done film and theater. And then kind of as an offshoot of being a writer, I've ended up doing a lot of producing, some executive producing, directing, but primarily I'm a writer. As of last bunch of years, I've mostly done kids television, a lot of animation, things ranging from Rolie Polie Olie to Fresh Beat Band to Little Miss Spider to PAW Patrol to a show that's just about to drop on Peacock called Press Start. And I tend to write and run those shows.
Nice, nice.
Awesome.
So what was your childhood like before working in television? Like, how did you grow up?
I'm pretty regular suburban Philadelphia childhood. I was, a kid of the 70s, and so I was a latchkey kid like everybody else, and we just ran around until the moms whistled us home for dinner until it got dark. A lot of riding our Schwinns around and trying to stay in or get out or stay in trouble, one or the other. Played a lot of sports, read quite a bit, but it was nothing too exceptional. Your
Nice.
basic American suburban kid, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's great. I'm kind of curious. Did you always want to work in television, or if there's anything else that you wanted to pursue?
I mean, once I sort of had some realistic idea of once I no longer wanted to be an astronaut, a fireman, a jet pilot, and those kind of things. Once I actually thought about a career or a calling, I always wanted to be a writer. I don't think uh, my dad was a college professor, but he also really liked. I grew up on Pogo and the Sunday comics. He really dug the Sunday comics. So there's a lot of Calvin and Hobbes, Doonesbury, and then we watched a decent amount of television back then. Anime was just coming in, and it used to be on UHF. It was a special kind of like there was no streaming yet, and there was no cable, and this guy Wee Willie Weber in Philly, he used to collect all the anime, the great stuff, the Marine Boy and Astro Boy and Ultraman, and that would be on after school, and I kind of enjoyed it, but I never really thought of it as a job. Like I didn't actually know people did it. I was going to go to journalism is what I thought I was probably going to do, and then eventually write the Great American Novel. And I was working at radio station at the end of high school and all through college, an all news station. But then I sort of stumbled into theater and really enjoyed that and started doing theater and then came out to LA for I was in New York for a while. And then once I was in LA and once I had kids, theater doesn't pay a lot of money and kids want to eat every day. So, you have to you have to figure out a way to pay the groceries. And so that the natural kind of shift was into television. But at first I was doing, grown up live action stuff, did a couple of movies and did a number of syndicated shows along the Lost World and Beastmaster and Queen of Swords and that kind of stuff. Did a couple pilots for the various networks then. But my wife was, we were doing a movie together. We just had a kid and she thought she was ready to go back on the floor. And she does the same thing. She's a writer producer as well, Nadine Velde. And we were back on the floor and we had a baby. And when you're shooting a movie, especially a relatively low budget movie, you're like 16, 17-hour days. And she just realized, I cannot do this with a kid. And she had worked a little bit with Nelvana on a live action show called Nancy Drew. And they had contacted her and said, do you want to come on this Bill Joyce project, Rolie Polie Olie? And she's like, I'm not really sure I want to do preschool. And they were like, well, you can do it from home. And she went, oh, that sounds a lot better than going down and doing a movie 18 hours a day. So she tried it out and really, really enjoyed it. And then they doubled her order and she's like, you got to help me out. And I was like, I don't really want to do preschool. And then I jumped in to help her out and just really enjoyed it as well. And I realized, I'd spent a lot of my life watching this stuff and really enjoying it. I'd never really thought about writing it. Now that I started to dig in and write it, and Bill Joyce is just brilliant. It was so much fun to work with. So we ended up having a blast, and that just went on for a couple of years, and then snowballed into. I got to then do George Shrinks with Bill, and that was really, really fun as well. And it just sort of snowballed into kind of a career path.
Nice.
That's great. You kind of already talked about with Rolie Polie Olie, like just a big. What was it? What was it like? As a
It was
writer standpoint, what was it like getting to do that
it
show?
was it was great. It was really challenging actually because it was the first preschool CGI show, and people the technology moved so fast that you kind of forget. But back then, it was the amount of computer energy that it took to render that show was just so huge that there was only so much you could do. Like you couldn't pick up a prop on screen. Character had to reach off screen to pick up a prop because didn't yet have the technology to actually show that grabbing it. You'd open a
Right.
closet and they'd be like, you can't shoot inside the closet because we haven't built the inside of the closet yet. And that'll take us weeks, So you had to be really
Yeah.
economical with how you used your characters and your props and things like that. And then every couple of weeks, it seemed like you could get like another character because they would be able to get the technology and the R&D going that they could do more and more and get obviously faster computers and stuff like that. But it was really, really interesting. It was a lot of fun to work with. Nelvana had just brought in this company out of Minnesota, I guess it was Windlight, which was Scott Dyer and Pam Lane. And they had brought like and they were doing the CGI. Scott had gone to Carnegie Mellon and was working a little bit on actually jet fighter pilot training CGI, and then he transferred it over into animation. So they were like really aggressively R&Ding stuff and figuring out how to problem solve. And the director Mike Fellows was really, really good, and everybody was just trying to like solve this problem. So it was a lot of fun. It was really great. And Bill Joyce is just brilliant. So it was great to work with him as well.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
great.
wonderful show. I remember watching it a lot on Playhouse Disney. I remember
Yeah, me too.
it was always like one of the last shows to air before like it transitioned from Playhouse Disney to Disney Channel.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was a great series.
Yeah,
definitely.
everybody that worked on it. We're still all friends too, like all these years later, which is really nice. We just,
Mm.
Oh, that's great.
yeah, even the folks from Disney, Gary Marsh from Disney, we're still good friends with, and Pam and Scott Dyer were very good friends with, stay in contact. So yeah, no, it was just one of those really, really special groupings of people, and enjoyed it a lot.
That's awesome.
That's wonderful.
So now you also got to help write the Baby Bot Chase movie.
Yeah,
Oh, what was
yeah.
that like?
It was great. It was the show did really well, which is always nice. And so when it does well, they expand it out into some longer form stuff, and they wanted to do some specials, and so we got to do my Nadine got to do the first long form special, and then I did the second one with a couple other writers. And yeah, it's it's always they always get special attention, so sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. They take a little bit longer, but
Right.
yeah, no, that entire project was really just magical and a lot of fun. And it was at a time when there was really good money in preschool. And as far as budgets for the shows, they were really supporting it. And it played all over the world. Disney is a huge brand, but it was really a solid was the leading preschool brand at that time. So it got really good attention, really good resources. People really took care of it. And that's always really important with a show, that you have a lot of people that believe in it and that are willing to put their time and their effort into it, because it's hard to break through, even harder now, but even back then it's hard to break through into the kind of worldwide market.
Right. So I'm kind of curious, even though this may be a tough question to answer, do you have any favorite Rolie Polie Olie episodes you wrote?
Um, the one that there were a couple. The one that I actually really liked, we did one called Dingley Dangly Doodle, which was just about dad cursing in roly poly language, and it was really fun
Oh
because
my
it's such
gosh.
yeah, it's such like a classic adult thing. And we had kids at the time, Nadine and I, so we had our kids and we were watching what they went through during the day, and that thing of like when you curse in front of your innocent little kid. And so that one was kind of fun. And any of them having to do with Zoe, because our daughter was about that age. And so it was always really fun to kind of like put her, steal little moments out of her life and put them into the scripts. That was always fun.
Yeah, I also like the Christmas episodes of Rolie Polie, like Jingle Jangle
Right.
Days Eve.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. That's
yeah.
a great one.
Yeah. And the Christmas ones always, of course, get like super extra attention because they're going to promote the crap out of them. And so those are, yeah, they did a really nice job. I mean, all the way around that show, given particularly given the technical challenges, was really just a magic, how it all came together, and people really put their creativity in it all the way around. It's fun.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if you were aware of it, but I remember reading that for a time there was supposed to be like a Rolie Polie Olie reboot. Like I remember reading that Bill Joyce was like
Yeah.
working on one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, Chorus has had some financial issues as of late, which is the company that owns Nelvana. And I don't know if
Mhm.
that's impacted it at all. And there's such changes going on in the kids' business right now because of the streaming, the change from linear to streaming. I think everybody's
Yeah.
reassessing their business models and trying to figure out, what is the best way forward to maximize, or at least to be able to create a streaming business that makes sense. So I think it may be sort of treading water in the midst of those discussions. But
Right.
I sure hope they do it, because it was really a fun show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Rolie Polie Olie might kind of, like still be a good show, for today if it's well coming back, but
Yeah, I
we'll see
mean,
what happens.
at the heart of it, it was this, a round world, and then there was a square neighbor, and it was really about like trying to find your way in the world and fit in together and make this positive,
Yeah,
idealistic
exactly. Of
world. And that's always a great thing. You know what I mean? No matter when
course.
that's something to figure out.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's great. So now transition to George Swing. So what's it like, getting to Rowan?
I mean, George Shrinks was a lot of fun too. Again, working with Bill, he's just such a creative guy, and that was a 2D show, so it was a little bit different. And it was PBS, so it had a slightly, there's a different sort of energy behind it. But it was really, yeah, it was great fun. Really good voice actors, and again, um, it was through, of course, Nelvana. I guess it was probably still just Nelvana at that point, and very supportive,
Yeah.
really talented people. So it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So now, what was it like writing for Miss Spider?
That was great. That was my Nadine actually ran that show, worked with David Kirk, and David Kirk is another just
David. Yeah, right.
yeah, he's amazing. Just a fantastic sort of uh he has such a view of the world, this innocent view of the world that's just really fun and engaging. So that was great to work with. And that was the first time working with Nickelodeon, and they were super supportive as well. And we ended up working sort of with Nickelodeon for like the next 15 years. So that was the start of a
Right.
really good relationship. Um, Great. Yeah, Terry Weiss and Sarah Landy and Brown Johnson, just really quality people at the preschool side of Nickelodeon at that time.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, because I mean, with Nick Jr., they made a lot of wonderful shows over the years.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah,
was
of
really,
course.
that was the Dora days, so it was a really good time for them. They had a
Oh
lot
yeah,
going on, and they were really on the top of their game. And yeah, it was great. It was great. Another CGI show, so that was fun. A lot of characters. That was challenging. Um, because she had so many little adopted spiders.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a good little, and that was another great show about, sort of taking people or spiders or bugs as they are, and
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
just
it
a
was a
really
sweet little
nice,
show. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
nice family community show, and that was a really good time. Really enjoyed it.
absolutely.
That's great. So now, one of your most notable works was got to co-create another Nickelodeon series, the Fresh Beat Band. So now,
Yeah,
what was like the creation process to kind of create that
yeah,
series?
that
Because
was
that show being like kind of a band show and all that, so it was kind of different compared to what you already worked on. So what was
With
that kind of
animation and
comparison?
everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, both, Nadine and I had both done a lot of live action before we got into the animation. So that wasn't particularly a stretch. But we had, as we said, we had a couple of kids, and they were going at that age to a lot of like High School Musical and Hannah Montana parties,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that was
Uh-huh.
really big at that time. And, but they were younger, they were preschool, or they were just around that age. And at the heart of it, High School Musical and Hannah Montana were about hooking up, right? They were like really, they were about that teen experience. And kids, 3, 4, 5 year olds, they just don't get that, but they love the music, they love the colors, they love the excitement of it. They just like they didn't get dating. That was not their thing. So they were going to these parties, and it was just a little weird. And Nadine and I were like, you know what? These kids want their older siblings music and their older siblings shows, but we need to find one that's really like on their level, that's in the world that they're about. So we went to Nickelodeon. They were looking for a music show, so we pitched them that, and it just all clicked. That's another one of the shows where the actors are still our best friends. I mean, they come over all the time. We hang out together. They
Yeah.
they watched our kids grow up, and the music was great. The guys at Matter Music who did the music, they're friends of ours from even
Yeah.
before the Fresh Beat Band. We had known them, and the Rick Markman was a bass player with Heart at the time, and they're just really good musicians. And so it just all came together. Chuck Maldonado, who did the choreography, he had done Step It Up,
Right.
and so it was just a lot of people on the top of their game, just really having some fun. And I think everybody just really, it was really hard work for the actors. The actors, because they had to tour as
Yeah.
well. They, man,
Right, yeah. They
we,
they had all the
oh,
live
Yep.
shows and
Yep.
everything.
oh, it
Yeah.
was
Yep.
terrible, man, for them. And
Exactly.
that they even still speak to us is amazing, because we almost killed them. I mean, it was just because they would shoot, and of course you're shooting, and they had to. So Monday they would come in, they would go to choreography first thing Monday, then they'd come in and do a table read, then they'd go into rehearsals. They'd rehearse 2 days, they'd record Tuesday nights, then the song for the next week, because we're writing a song every week. Then they'd shoot Thursday, Friday, go home for the weekend, and come back Monday at 8:30 a.m. and do it all over again. And then when we would go dark from shooting, they'd put them on the road, and they were out just like, traveling and doing shows after shows after shows. The live show was incredibly successful too, and so they kept just put, booking them because they were selling tickets. They sold out the Beacon Theater for 8 shows straight, which I think is still a
That's
record. I mean,
crazy.
it was crazy. There, I mean, we were just amazed at how it took off, and dads and
Oh
moms just
yeah,
wanted to go to their first rock show with their kid, and it was a blast. So
absolutely.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
a lot of
Yeah,
wonderful
fun.
and
show.
so and it's so interesting that like the show was to those I think most of you might know, but I think there's some that have no idea about it. But the show, it was originally gonna be supposed to call as the Jump Arounds.
Yeah, yeah,
And then it was a fresh beat band because I've heard there's like a lawsuit that there's already a
yeah.
band named
It
the Jump Bits or something. So they kind
yeah.
of had to get
There was
a
just
cool
there.
new name.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
development was parallel for this other band was coming up at the same time we were doing it, and they
Yeah.
the people who were supposed to be checking that out, I guess were not as thorough as they should have been, but it was fine. We had started shooting, and luckily the our post-production guys, Aaron Staudinger and his team figured out a way to fix it, without it being too
Being kind of like
without it
too
killing.
close to the other
Yeah.
band. Yeah.
Well, we had already started shooting, so we actually need to go back and reshoot a bunch of stuff. So they went through all of the episodes, and they just took the specific spots that we had said the previous name, and we just went through, and
Right.
like
Okay.
inside of a week we had to shoot like reshoot every shot. They were amazing. The
Yeah.
post guys were amazing. It was an organizational nightmare, but they figured it out, and we snuck through. But
That's
it was
good.
dicey for a minute. Yeah, it's nobody ever likes that scenario, and it was just whoever was supposed to be clearing the name had somehow missed that was out there.
Right.
Yeah, and the
So
Fresh Meat Band, I think it's a still a great name, and still a great
Yeah,
show that people
no,
still talked about.
we actually liked it. At the end of the day, we were like, this is better, so it's good. We liked it.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
exactly.
So now with the Fresh Beat Band, are there any like favorite or most memorable episodes or songs from that show that kind of stick out for you?
I mean, the episode, the most fun one was the Wizard of Oz kind of send up that we did with
Oh
Yeah,
Jason
the
yeah,
Wizard of
yeah.
Mraz,
Song.
and yeah,
Yeah,
that
That
was
was great.
huge, and
yeah,
that was just like it was a big episode. It was a lot of fun, and Jason Mraz was amazing. He was so cool, and he's just really talented. And then he had them come to Carnegie Hall. He was doing a show at Carnegie Hall of kids music, and he asked them to come with him, and so they played Carnegie Hall with Jason Mraz, right before the Macy's Day Parade that year. And so that was really, really special. And working with Neo was really special too. That guy's an amazing
Oh
guy.
yeah.
yeah,
For
with the
Yeah.
Band in a
the
Jam
the
episode.
special. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, love
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that guy, what a talent. I'm like, he's
Oh yeah,
amazing. Just like his brain and music work in a way like I've never seen anybody. He just hears it in his head and it comes right out. So those were really special for sure. Oh, and then we did do they did a thing called they did a music special for a bunch of Nickelodeon acts. And we had Justin Bieber do a little bit with the band, and he was like a kid. I think he was
really.
16 or 17.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like when he first started his career.
Yeah. So
I
that was
remember
That
pretty
that.
I actually didn't
amazing.
know. Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, it was they did a big, they don't do it anymore, but they used to do an annual like music live show that they would broadcast with all the various Nickelodeon acts. And he came to Paramount. He was so shy. It was amazing. Also an incredible musician. You could just tell he just sat there and did
Yeah.
his thing, but he was still really young and really shy. And so that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's also the crossover special with the Fresh Beats and Yo Gabba Gabba.
That was hysterical. Yeah, absolutely a blast. That
Yes,
was too much fun.
that was
Yeah.
so great.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Christian and Scott, the guys who do Yo Gabba
Oh
are
yeah,
Oh,
they're
really
wonderful.
they're
They
great
cool.
they
guys.
they've been on our
Yeah,
show too. They're wonderful.
really cool.
Yeah, and now your Gabba Gabba Land is
Yeah, now
Yeah,
that's yeah,
Apple TV
yep,
Plus. So Gabba's still
still out there
for new
still
too.
at it.
generation, which is
Exactly.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the advantage of having a costume. It doesn't get old, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, before we actually did this, I actually did got to watch some of the episodes of Fresh Meat Band. I mean, those we already talked about. That was the ones I actually did watch it, but the other ones I actually did were where the band got to the
Yeah,
graduation party.
yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
That was really
yeah.
fun. Yeah,
And
well, once
like
we
uh cool pool party.
the pool party was really fun. So they had a pool at Paramount. We were shooting at Paramount, and they had a pool for Big Time Rush. I don't know if you remember that show.
Oh yeah,
Big Time
yeah.
Big Time Rush was
Oh,
shooting right next door to us, and we
okay.
shared. They were both
Oh
Nickelodeon. We shared a
wow.
lot of the crew back and forth because we were in the same spot down at
Hmm.
Paramount, and they had a pool at their at their Big Time Rush house, and we were like, hey, let's see if we can do something with that pool since it's there, and it's like a really neat kind of fun thing. So that's where that came from. And we're like, can we asked the Nick people, were like, can we could use the pool when they're not using it? They're like, yeah, sure, figure something out. That was a
Wow,
blast. Yeah,
that's
Um,
awesome.
it was fun.
yeah, and yeah, a glow for it. We're just kind of like it was just kind of glowing party and the whole like main
Yeah,
set
yeah.
of us.
Trying to make a nighttime glow in the dark party. That was
Yeah.
we had amazing crews on that show. That was the great thing. Partly because we were shooting on Paramount and they were and Big Time Rush and a couple other shows. They had a another show going at the time. I can't remember which one it was. Super Ninjas, I think. But we were able to so you had a crew that you could take back and forth across the shows. So we got some really, really talented directors and DPs and cinematographers and Jonathan Judge, who directed a good number of our episodes, and
Oh
he
yeah, yeah.
direct.
He's directed a lot of children's stuff and
Yeah, well,
Oh
he's
yeah.
stuff outside of that too. Yeah.
all over the Loud House now.
Of
Yeah, he's
course.
like EP in the Loud House.
Right.
Super talented guy, and he's also a friend, and he and Chris, his wife, and she did costumes and just really yeah, it was a great. It was a great cast and crew, and we were lucky to share it across various shows, so we could keep people around and interested, and keep top people working on it. So it was great. We had a great costumer. At one point, our costumes were actually in a museum exhibit at FIDMA, which is a fashion school down in Los Angeles, next to the Game of Thrones
Huh.
costumes, because
Oh wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, because Joyce Kimley, who does our did our costumes, just amazingly talented, and yeah. So we were once again, just lucky with the crew, lucky with the cast, lucky with the network support. It was just everything fell into place for that show. It was a great time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, of course, the show is also, known for its songs. So is there like any like favorite songs, at least I
Yeah.
remembered, or
Yeah, I mean, Loco Legs, that was the first one we did. And so that was like the first
yeah,
one. And that still to me, to this day, I just love how
Yeah.
that thing hits. It just really hits well. And then Great Day, whenever we would
of
play it
course.
live
Yeah.
and everybody, all the moms and the dads and the kids all knew the choreography and they'd stand up out in the audience and do that Great Day
That's great.
choreography. Yeah, it was really, really
And
fun.
the banana song, of course.
Banana is
Go
huge.
go bananas,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And there, Tommy, who played Shout, has this high note call out in the middle of that thing
Oh
that
my
we
gosh.
Yeah, yes,
love,
So
yeah.
talented.
Ah!
love
Yeah.
making him do that live.
Yeah, that
He'd be
one.
like, he'd take a breath and then he'd have to hit it. So it was, yeah, really
That's
fun.
He's so
awesome.
I mean all four of them, I mean they're so talented.
Yeah,
Yeah.
John Beavers, who played Twist, was just in Horizon, the
Oh,
Kevin
that's
Costner
great.
movies, and he's this big bad guy, and
Yes.
he's coming out in a Hulu show I just saw this week. And Yvette's over in London. She's been doing a lot of theater. She was in The Heights, and then she was in Hadestown, and then she
Yeah.
was in Moulin Rouge, and now she's doing a show in London. And Tommy was on That Girl Lele for
Yeah, yeah.
three
Yep.
seasons, which
Hmm.
was really
Hmm.
fun
Yep.
for him to be like right back. He was right back at Nick, only he was the dad now. So that was cool. And Tiffany, who played his wife on that show, was one of the dancers, one of the key dancers on the Fresh Beat Band for the longest time.
Ah,
Ah,
okay.
Yeah.
wow, okay.
Interesting.
So they already
Wow.
knew each other. So that was great. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
That's cool. Get Up and Go Go.
Yep. Get Him Go
Um,
Go is a blast. And we
Yeah.
got to work with some
uh,
outside songwriters too. It was a lot of fun as well.
yeah. Yeah, for example, like a previous guest we tried a while back, Pierre Zizzo, who got to
Oh
When
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
You.
yeah, absolutely.
And then he
So
went on
the
to do all the music for Blues Clues and You.
Such a
yeah,
great guy.
Yeah.
really good guy, really talented, really yeah, he did a couple of our really fun songs for us. Get Up and Go Go and
A
Friend
Friend
Like
Like You,
You.
that's a great
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
great song. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. Reach for the Sky. There's so many.
That's right,
It's
Reach
such a
for the
wonderful
Sky. Yeah.
series. It's
Oh,
such
Yeah.
a
thank
great.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, both of us we got to grow up watching it so many times, even so many times back then when it was when it was like used to run like throughout the days and all that when it was still kind of a when it was still airing. Even when I was like watching some of the episodes like just earlier today, just watching. Gosh knows how long since I last time watched. Probably it was the last time I watched it was like when it was still airing on an actual channel. I still remembered like,
Right.
all the episodes and all that. It's such like a uh what was the term I'm trying to say? Like it's such like a how the show was. It was kind of like simple, but also how the teamwork and
Yeah.
how the show was. It was just it was great.
Yeah, we had a saying on the set. We were like, if you can't have fun making a musical comedy for preschoolers, you're just in the wrong business. It's like we just tried to keep the set happy and like be like, guys, we're not, this is not brain surgery. We're just trying to let some kids have a nice time in their day. So let's everybody have fun and it'll
Exactly.
come across the
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Wonderful series. Is that show's like on streaming or something or
It's
not?
definitely it was on Pluto for a while. I know it's on Apple and some
Right.
of the VOD the SVOD stuff. I'm not sure with all the stuff that Paramount's going through right now. I'm not sure if it's on the
Yeah.
Paramount Plus at the moment. Fresh Meat Bound to
Right.
Spies was the animated spinoff, but I think because they were trying to cut back on some of their payment situation with live action, you have to keep paying people every time it runs. So I think they took some of it off
Yeah.
Right.
of
Yeah.
while they're trying to figure out their sale. They're all in the middle of trying to figure that out. So,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it's definitely on. I know it's on Apple and a couple of other,
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm
maybe
sure.
Gotcha.
Amazon as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah, or like if any of them's not on streaming or anything, I'm sure it'll probably be, streaming again at some point, and then
Yep.
today's kids will will enjoy watching show as much as we did.
Yeah. No, it's definitely still out there. I run into people who still are watching it or showing it to their kids. So
That's great.
I know it's successful. Yeah, it's always fun. That's always a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So now going to the anime series Fresh Beat Band of Spies. Now, also like getting to do it, compare, Fresh Beat Band, it was, a live action series. Now you're doing like, of course, you already did animation stuff already before Fresh Beat Band stuff. Now you're doing like an animation style series when it was with you live action to now transition to animation. So what was like, what was that like to do
Well,
that?
the actors were definitely happier to only have to do voice acting rather than having to do the dancing and the singing. And they're like, oh yeah, let's do this because it was way easier on them. So I mean, it was really nice because we got to keep the cast together, which was great. And Nadine and I had done a lot of animation, so we knew the drill. And it it's a more forgiving it's a longer schedule, it's a slower schedule, it's kind of not as much fun because you don't show up everybody together and like put on this show every week, but at the same time
Yeah.
it's a little less grindy, that you can kind of you have a little bit more, you still work a lot of hours, but they're not sort of the same pressure, time pressure as when you have
Right.
everybody, when you have 60 people sitting around a sound stage and they're all on the clock, and you got to be done by 10 o'clock or else they're going to pull the plug. And, so you got somebody standing behind you looking at their watch. So after 3 seasons of doing the live action, which again was great, we really had a blast, but it was nice to kind of shift into something that wasn't quite as much of a consistent time pressure. There's still a type of pressure, but it's not exactly the same. And as I said, the cast was really happy not to have to show up and learn dances every week. So that was pretty good. And we got to work with some really fun voice talent on there too. And yeah, enjoyed it. We enjoyed that a lot. And it was working in 2D. We hadn't worked in 2D in a while. And so that was done in Toon Boom Harmony. And that was really interesting to try and figure out a way to translate the live action kind of conceit to that. So it was cool.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice. So what went into developing and executive producing Paw Patrol?
Paw Patrol was created by Keith Chapman, who's the Builder brother, the Bob the Builder guy, and
Yep.
it was in its sort of early stages, and I was working with Nick on Fresh Meat Band at the time, still, and they were working with Spin Master on getting Paw Patrol up and going. So they brought me in, and I had worked with Jennifer Dodge, who was at Spin at that point earlier when she was a Cookie Jar. So kind of knew everybody and brought in. It was just taking Keith's characters and creating a world where they could kind of spin out into who knew, but 10 years of television show. So it was figuring out a way to take those pups and just have them be both youthful and puppy-like, but also realistic and real ways for them to use the vehicles and get out there in Adventure Bay and solve problems, help people out, and be rescue pups. So that was my job, was to sort of like just create that, what they call the franchise, the world that could repeat over and over and over again. And yeah, it was great. It was really really a lot of fun. It hit early, so that was great. Like it started to really pick up an audience almost right off the drop. So we were doing a lot of, particularly on the Spin side, they were doing a lot of hurry ups to catch up with the popularity, because they had expected it to build a little more slowly, like most shows do, and it just really kind of bang right out of the gate. So it was good. It was good, fast, hard work.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
So now, what was it like, getting to like producing another series, Top Wing?
Yeah, Top Wing was, again, it was a Nickelodeon series they had picked up, working with a guy named Matthew Fernandez and Industrial Brothers. And Matt's really, really, really talented, very creative guy, a lot of energy. So working with him was great. And Nine Story, also a really good, solid company. I had not worked with them much before. But so everybody was pretty new, but at Nickelodeon, I already knew, and I was brought in through Nickelodeon. So it was good. It was a really good process. I loved Matt and the folks at Nine Story. Really, everybody working hard to figure that one out. And there were some changes at Nickelodeon after the second season, so it kind of lost a little bit of its support in the company, which I think was unfortunate. But the process for doing it, and Guru Studios as well. No, Guru was on Paw Patrol. Nine Story, yeah, and that was good. Good. I worked with both of those with a lot of Canadian companies, and there's a lot of really good talent in Toronto, and so I spent some time up there working
Ni-
with the crews.
Nice. So recently you wrote and executive produced for a Builder Brothers Dream Factory. Can you talk a
Mhm.
little bit about that?
Yeah, that was actually, I was brought in originally by someone I had worked with at Nine Story, who had moved over to Sinking Ship. And Sinking Ship does Odd Squad and more live action stuff, but they had done a
Okay.
lot of CGI kind of, it was live action CGI, so it's animation, but it was inside the live action series, and they had really wanted to expand that out. Matt Bishops, who does the art, is sort of the lead art guy over there. Wanted to do more animation, so this was an opportunity. They had teamed up with the Scott brothers, which is the guys who do Property Brothers. They have their own company, Scott Brothers. Scott Brothers and Sinking Ship together had wanted to do kind of a prequel. It was kind of they wanted to do Drew and Scott as young guys, building stuff in the neighborhood. And I was a huge Phineas and Ferb fan.
Oh, I love that
Just,
yeah, I love
show.
it.
yeah, just
Yeah.
a great show. My daughter really loved it. So I was like, if we can do sort of a fantastical, but a little bit more grounded, them building stuff in the backyard, and coming up with these crazy ideas and trying to make them work. So it was sort of Phineas and Ferby, but it was a little more grounded in stuff that somebody could maybe almost really build, even though it was always, beyond the abilities of an actual, 10, 12-year-old kid. But so
Right.
yeah, so that was a lot of fun. And again, that was through Chorus. Treehouse was the broadcaster on that, and Sinking Ship just did an amazing job with the animation, and the brothers were involved. They did some voices, which was really fun, and they played the adults in the series, the dad and the uncle, and even there's a third brother that's not part of the show, but he's not part of the Property Brothers show, but he came in and he did Santa in one episode, and so that was fun. We had really talented voice actors on it too, so it was great. Good
Nice.
show. Yeah.
Nice.
Wonderful. So now since we're getting close to wrapping this up soon, can you share anything that you're working on now?
Well, just came out actually this weekend on Peacock YouTube, and it's going to be dropping on November 21st, is Press Start, which is a series there's a book series by Thomas Flintham called Press Start. It's about this video game character, Super Rabbit Boy, and Rue and Sonny, who are the kids that play the Super Rabbit Boy game. And it's a really, really good book series that gets a lot of it's a young reader series, gets a lot of boys reading, which is always, I think, a challenge for younger readers. So we were able to bring that through Cyber Group into a CGI series that I'm actually really excited about. So you can go on YouTube, Peacock YouTube channel, YouTube Kids, or Peacock Kids, and they just put basically the origin story. It's 2 episodes together. And then on the 21st, the whole series, or I guess the first 6 episodes, maybe the series are going to drop and be available for streaming.
Okay.
So yeah.
Nice.
Nice. Looking forward to more what's to come and more coming up for you, Scott. So to end this off, Chris is going to ask the last question we usually ask every guest. Go ahead, Chris.
Thank you, Jake. So this podcast is called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. When you think of nostalgia, what do you think of, or how would you define nostalgia?
Nostalgia is that sweet longing for some kind of innocent moment in the past that maybe existed, maybe didn't exist, but you feel like it did. And that just there are those moments in your life when you're sitting there and everything seems to be lining up perfectly, particularly when you're a kid. And I always feel like nostalgia is for like hitting that vibe again somehow. I again, going back to Willie Weber and UHF, I think a lot about when I was, sat down with some of my buddies in front of Ultraman or Marine Boy, and just seemed like, okay, everything was going to be fine, right, for the next half hour or so.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Wonderful.
great word
Thank
to
you so
send on.
much.
Well, thank you so much,
Thank you.
Scott, for doing this. This is a blast.
Awesome. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your
Of
interest in the
course.
shows. It's really flattering, and I really appreciate the kind words.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for
much.
taking the time to be on. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Have a great one.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Thanks again, Scott. Take care. Bye.
It's goodbye from us as well. We absolutely enjoyed our time speaking with the wonderful Scott Kraft. Keep on the lookout for more wonderful interviews coming your way. And as always, what do we say, Jake?
Keep nostalgia alive. Take care, everyone. See you next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode. Be sure to follow Jake and the Happy Nostalgia team on social media, check out our website, and stream the show wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, remember to keep nostalgia alive. Bye-bye.